Hey, Cubs fans, welcome back to Northside Baseball. Ethan and Brandon here once again to discuss everything going on with the Cubs in our usual and what's becoming a monthly occurrence State of the Union video. Obviously, we are very close to the end of the regular season at the time of this recording. There's one game left in this second series with the Braves, and then there's just five series left to end the regular season. So a lot's at stake. Even as the Brewers continue to run away a little bit with the NL Central, it's not over yet there, but obviously, it looks like the Cubs are going to be, gunning for a wild card spot. But Ethan, I'll pass it off to you to start. How are you feeling about the Cubs right now? Obviously, there's been some roster shuffling, some injury news, some really good teams, coming up at the end of the season here. How are you feeling overall?
I mean, you asked me the I'm gonna laugh here for a second. You ask me this question every month. How do I feel about the Cubs? And I think my answer always teeter-totters because there are months in the beginning of the season where we were doing amazing. We held the number one slot for quite a while, and then the Brewers kind of kicked us to the curb, and we've held the second place slot for quite a while. I'm still very confident in the Cubs, and I think I'm gonna keep giving this answer until either we win the World Series or we lose in the playoffs. And that's just where I'm going to keep it for now. Again, we've had a good amount of injuries. We've had people come back from the IL. It's just kind of been back and forth, back and forth. I give a lot of credit to our front office where for every single thing that has gone wrong, something has gone right for the
Mhm.
Cubs. And I think in years past, that has been the exact opposite thing that has happened for this team. So again, I'm very confident in the Cubs right now. I am a little bit disappointed in the last few weeks. We've been losing a lot of games, but
Mhm.
also we haven't lost it by that much. It's maybe been by one run. So I'm not too happy. That's, I guess, the one negative I'll bring. But
Yeah.
overall, I'm not like raising any alarms. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they've had a pretty light schedule to start the month. They took two of three from the Braves. They very disappointingly lost two of three to the Nationals at the time of this recording. They're about to play the rubber match against the Braves in the second series. So hopefully, they'll take that, they'll take that game and they'll come out of this little, start to the month here with a winning record. But I'm not thrilled with how the Cubs have been playing. It's been better than August. The offense has heated it back up a little bit. Kyle Tucker was on fire for a little bit there. Unfortunately, he is now actually on the injured list. Moises Ballesteros has come back up to replace him on the active roster. Jameson Taillon is back as well. It sounds like he's going to get the start tonight. That's big for the Cubs because he's probably the number four starter in that playoff rotation if he's healthy. So hopefully, he looks good over the next few weeks. He's able to stay healthy, which has been a struggle for him this year. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of like they're just sort of treading water right now. The Brewers haven't run away with the division, but they're more than 6 games ahead of the Cubs in the NL Central. It's probably over given that there's 15, 16, however many games left in the year. But the Cubs do have a 3 game lead on the Padres as it currently stands for the first wild card in the National League, which we've talked about why this matters. It's home field advantage in the wild card series, which matters a lot. I mean, obviously playing in Wrigley Field is better than playing in San Diego, but it matters a lot for the Cubs because they're 44 and 28 at home and they're only 38 and 35 on the road. So, I mean, those are two different teams. That's one of the best teams in baseball at home and like a barely over 500 team on the road. So it's again, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Some guys have been playing well. I've been pretty happy with the starting rotation. Obviously, we've been monitoring things like Matthew Boyd's workload. Is Shodi Managa fully healthy? Cade Horton's been brilliant. I mean, really, really stupendous recently, but obviously he's got, innings, things to watch out for. So we'll see what happens. But overall, I mean, the thing that worries me most going into the end of this season here isn't necessarily how the Cubs are playing, but it's the fact that these last few series, they'll get a series against the Pirates, which should be pretty winnable. But other than that, they've got the Tampa Bay Rays, the Cincinnati Reds, and then they end the season at home, but they end the season with the Mets, who are obviously competing with them for a wild card spot, and the Cardinals, who we know are not going to roll over for the Cubs at any point. So it's going to be some tough games coming up.
Yeah, I mean, but we listen, the thing that I always say, and I always like to try to keep a positive attitude about this, is that this is not the Cubs of 2 or 3 years ago, who, as you will put it, kind of again, like the Cardinals won't, we don't roll over either anymore. Not to say that we like absolutely sucked, but We have really heavy hitters and great defensemen at this point. We have spent I don't want to call it a restructuring because that's not what the past few years were. It was really a it wasn't even a rebuild. It was just kind of like tinkering.
Oh.
Let's call it tinkering over time. It
I'm
was a
sure Jed
tinker.
Hoyer would appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Listen. That's all I'm gonna say. Just listen. At the end of the day, this was tinkering on the Cubs, and we adjust over time and over time and over time. My belief is that with all this tinkering and adjusting over time, this is the year of the Cubs, baby. This is the year. With
Wow.
hey, you got to be confident with the pitchers that we have, with the defensemen we have out in the outfield, and with the heavy hitters that we have when we get up to the mound, both as righties and lefties. I see no issue why we cannot handle these teams. If you asked me 3 years ago, could we go up against the Cardinals or the Reds? I'd say you might as well turn off the TV now. But if you look at our lineup, like Pete Crow Armstrong, if he's healthy, like Kyle Tucker, like our veterans, like Seiya Suzuki, like why wouldn't we win these games? Is my question.
Yeah, no, on paper, absolutely, the Cubs should be winning these games. Obviously, we've learned over the last few months that being better on paper does not always translate to
Fair
wins on
point.
the field. I mean, but that's the nature of baseball. Again, I think unless you really believe that the Cubs can somehow take the division back from the Brewers, which is good. I mean, they're going to have to win pretty much every game to end the season from here on out, which listen, I would love if they did that, but that's probably not
Gotta
going to happen.
believe, Brandon.
I'll say the most important thing over the next few weeks is get home field advantage in the wild card round, win enough games to do that, and get the guys who need to be hot, hot. Get Kyle Tucker healthy, get Pete Armstrong back to, elevating the ball more often. Seiya Suzuki has been on a complete power outage, it feels like, for a little bit here. Dansby Swanson's been pretty okay. Matt Shaw's been pretty okay. But I mean, there's been there's too much streakiness right now in the lineup. If just over these next few weeks, if these guys can work on what they need to work on, to make sure that come October, come that wild card series against what looks like it'll probably be the Padres, that they're hot or at least, ready to go, against, some of the better pitchers in the National League that the Padres have, and especially their bullpen. That's going to be a boon for the Cubs because if the Cubs win that wild card series, they're going to have to play the Brewers in the division series, and obviously, that's going to be a complete, slugfest if the Cubs get that far. But as always, Ethan and I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. So much is going on with the Cubs right now. There's so much to discuss, with the schedule, with guys being healthy or injured, with guys who are hot or cold. Let us know how you're feeling about the team. Is there something in particular you're watching for? Is there a player in particular that you're watching? Let us know. And as always, we'll try to respond to every comment.